Orale! Bienvenidos and welcome to the Familia FFB podcast. This is your host, Jorge Martin. It's the NFL Insider. We're flying with the Bird Gang today, Familia. The Bird Gang, Arizona Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals. Yes, let's go. And we got our amiga, Kelly Singh from the, I've gotten a chance to get to know her at Trophy Smack, but she's also the lead voice of the Sick podcast with Kelly Singh. Mi amiga, welcome in. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Oh, mejor porque tú estás aquí. I'm better because you're here. So I love it.
Gracias, mi amigo.
I love it.
I've been practicing with Hema and I've gotten Duolingo, so I'm brushing up on my Spanish.
Okay, well, so then when we see you for the Scott Fishbowl draft on, in about 9 days, we'll only talk Spanish, the three of us. So
just full immersion.
Full immersion. Mauricio's in our draft too. We'll all be together. We'll all do it together. So puro español. The nobody else will know. They'll all think we're talking about them and laughing. So it's good. Before we jump in, I want to make sure, Familia, you're checking out Familia FFB on YouTube. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, get the great content like what we have coming here. And also, we were talking about being on the clock on Underdog drafts. Yeah, Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code Familia. You're going to get matched up to the first $250 you deposit. So get in there. You might be drafting against either one of us. You never know. And mi amiga, I think last year, and we've talked about this, since the season ended, that there's some room for optimism coming out of Bird Gang country.
Yes, lots.
Starting with let's start with KYLER Murray. I think in the very first game he took off running and erased any doubts that he was going to slow down, because I think he hit one of his highest speeds ever. Now there's some heat around him in fantasy, in early best ball drafts. You know what? Now he's got some weapons that we're going to talk about. What do you kind of see? El Señor KYLER Murray kind of, maybe with a full season, taking this offense to a new level.
Yeah, I think KYLER Murray is the quarterback people love to hate on. Yeah. Not hate, but hate on. Sell short, any kind of adjective you want to throw in there.
Pun intended?
Yeah.
Sell short.
Sell short. No pun. Because I've fallen victim to that as well. It's easy to fall into a bandwagon of what the heck? What is going on? Why do we have him? We've not done anything. And it's true. It's hard to believe it's been this many years and it hasn't happened for the Cardinals. But we have to have a healthy KYLER Murray in order for anything to happen. We also have to have the right weapons, as you mentioned, around him. This season, I think, is different. As you mentioned, he erased all doubt that he was going to slow down, that this injury was going to hinder him. I think they kept him longer than necessary in order to make sure that he was healthy. And we're going into this season as we left last season on an upward trajectory. So I'm not shying away from KYLER Murray, and by any means, I don't think anybody should by any means.
No, not at all. I'm looking up his ADP right now.
I think it's like 5th or 6th round. Yeah. Especially in a 1 QB league.
Actually, he is pick number 80, so he's the QB7. So pick number 80.
Worse than I thought.
Like the seventh round right now.
I was thinking you'd be good in the 6th, but 7th or even 8th, it sounds like, which is in a 1 QB. I think in 2 QBs, you're looking much earlier, obviously, but
right.
Also depends on if you like a stack, and I love a good stack.
We're gonna get who's gonna stack with the how much by the end of the season did it really look like he had such a great game against the Philadelphia Eagles in week 17 last year, and it was in Philly. So
Mm-hmm.
so people couldn't say it's just, he's only a dome quarterback. How much is that just kind of like the launching point for what he's going to do for this offense in 2024?
I think it launched everything. I think the last, even just like 4 games of the season or the last quarter of the season, it, win or lose, it was still an outing. It was a showing. And it was, oh my gosh, if we only had a healthy O-line, for instance, like the bye wasn't until very late in the season. I believe it was week 13 or 14, and now we're week 11 this year. And you could tell they were beat up, and it showed. So we've made a huge upgrade across the O-line. And I think that's going to be a big factor. But yeah, it was the launching pad for everything, and that momentum has carried through. And he himself, Kyler Murray, has become a more mature, a more responsible leader, a leader that the team is looking to and is excited to play with and to play for. So that's been fun to see too, because Kyler Murray is not a very social player. He's not an extrovert by any means. And it's been nice seeing him make some public appearances. Even if I haven't seen them on mainstream media, we see a lot more of him locally, which is a huge good sign. Green flags, green lights, good
Oh,
signs, good vibes when you see your quarterback out and about and participating in life.
oh, and just shows the investment
Mm-hmm.
into the city, into everything. I mean, I'm really high on him. And you know what? One of the you talked about stacks, and one of the Marvin Harrison Jr. So
Mm-hmm.
let's just jump. Let's just rip the band-aid off. This guy is going the back at the front half of the second round of best ball drafts. I mean, people are. I mean, I did one draft where I grabbed Puka Nacua and Marvin Harrison Jr. at the 12-1 turn, and then grabbed Kyler Murray a few rounds down. I can't wait to see how that one works out because
Yeah.
they play each other in week 17. But Marvin Harrison Jr., how much is he the key to help to unlock what this offense can really become?
I think he's been very key, even just morale wise. As we go into this season, the team's excited as if it was a missing puzzle piece. We had Hollywood Brown, who, of course, the team had very high hopes for. But me also being a Ravens fan, I was like, oh no, this is not good. This is not going to work. The man has trouble catching. He gets the yips. We don't want anybody with the yips. No, no, no. Uh, so obviously that did not pan out well for the Cardinals. We have Michael Wilson. He's an excellent receiver, was not healthy the whole year. So there we lose that outside receiver. But you have, obviously your tight end as a receiver. But when we talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. specifically, it was as if he was a missing piece that's now been plugged in, and the team is on fire. Everybody is on go mode. And I think he himself is ready to go. It's just been nothing but positivity. And I don't think it's just hype.
I don't know. I don't think. I mean, he's what, 6'4", 200, and he could
Yeah.
fly. I mean, it's like people are like, he doesn't look that fast because he didn't run at the combine. He doesn't look that fast, but then you look at him and he's running away from Big Ten defenders like it's nothing. So
Right.
I don't think I don't question what he can do. I think people are unfairly asking for like a Puka Nacua type of rookie season, but I mean, gosh, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to talk about
No,
80 catches and well over 1,000 yards.
I don't think that's crazy either, especially when it is your main option. I mean, where else are we going to go? We've got Michael Wilson on one side. We've got Marvin Harrison Jr. running the other route. On the other side, we've got Trey McBride. taking passes. Greg Dortch, I think, is going to fill more of a slot role similar to what we were hoping for from Rondale Moore. So we're going to see a lot more of Greg Dortch. So there's definitely going to be receptions by committee, no doubt. But I have no question, and there seems to have been no question in the media that Marvin Harrison Jr. is the number one passing option.
Oh, it's gonna be good. Is the number 2 passing option Trey McBride?
I would say so. I mean, when they tend to, at least when we hear from the team, they tend to break off receivers where we in fantasy tend to meld them together, tight ends and wide receivers. Michael Wilson is definitely getting a lot of hype here in Phoenix, and I've seen him in action. We've seen him in action. I think it was like the second longest pass one caught in the season in the league for Michael Wilson. I kind of liken him to a George Pickens, where he can catch pretty much anything anywhere, but he has to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. But yeah, Trey McBride, I would say, is still going to be a top option. Nearly 900 yards, and he didn't even play the first quarter of the season. So we expect to see a lot from Trey McBride, a lot.
Now he is going. You are in my book. You are the preeminent Mark Andrews aficionada, and he's going 2 spots ahead of him. That's that can now if you're in best ball draft and you want a tight end in the 4th round, are you picking between the 2 of them, and you haven't gone one already?
It depends on if I'm trying to make that stack and if I've gotten Marvin Harrison Jr. If I haven't gotten Marvin Harrison Jr., then and I have KYLER, then I'm going Trey McBride. But I would, in general, I still am looking at Mark Andrews over Trey McBride. I think what we have there is a case of recency bias. Yeah. So we have an injured Mark Andrews for pretty much the entire season, and we have a healthy Trey McBride, who's basically the only passing option, filling in that end of that exciting season for the Cardinals. So I really think we're seeing a case of recency bias. And if people need a reminder, Mark Andrews has had 4 1,000 yard out of 5 seasons. So please don't get caught up too much in that. It's not to say you can't have like a very even scale, but it's hard to pass up a veteran on a team like the Ravens for something that was super exciting last one season.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. I think we get a little too excited on recency bias. I think we get a little too excited about rookies sometimes. So
true.
So we'll see. Hopefully, but I'm pretty confident Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to deliver on that.
I think Trey McBride will have a 1,000-yard season. Don't get me wrong. It's just difficult to see that happening when you know what caliber of receiver or a tight end that Mark Andrews is. And just because he was injured last season, it's like throwaway, That's where we are with KYLER in a sense too. It's like, oh, he's a throwaway.
Oh man. Well, we're not throwing. Let's not throw away the running back position. Let's talk a little bit about James Conner.
You got another one of those situations.
Yeah. That's the thing. James Conner was fantastic. Over 1,000 total yards, over 1,000 rushing yards, and just but you know what? Now I'm looking up where is he right now? He's picked 91. He's the RB 25 right now.
Like, did we forget?
Yeah, over 1,200 total yards. He had 9 touchdowns on the season.
No respect.
So can you break down how the pecking? I think people are overly excited for Trey Benson, and there's reason to be excited about Trey Benson. He could be a bell cow if the job, if the job were to come to him. But early on in the season, this is James Conner's backfield, right?
It's James Conner's year still. He's got one more contract year with the Cardinals. He wants to stay with the Cardinals from everything that I've read, but this is still his year. He's still the starting running back for the Cardinals, no doubt about it. That doesn't mean that Trey Benson isn't going to see snaps, because he will. But yeah, I don't understand. It was like this even before this season. It's as if James Conner doesn't exist. I think it's just being associated with the Cardinals in general. The Cardinals haven't been a good football team. And unfortunately, people in fantasy sometimes get caught up with they're not a good team, so they don't have good players. You have to play your fantasy football based on the player, not on the team. And
Right.
what does that player bring to you? And people seem to overlook James Conner, I think, by association.
I think so. But what have you seen as far as like on Trey Benson as a talented understudy for James Conner?
There's no doubt about it. He's getting the praise that he deserves. He's definitely a talented understudy to James Conner. I don't see him taking the RB1 role from James Conner this season. He's definitely going to play it out, and unless there's an injury. And there's been an injury, I think, every single year for James Conner. I don't know that he's played a complete season. So unfortunately, we probably will see more of Trey Benson than maybe James Conner would hope. But he's still top dog. He's still going to take the majority of the snaps there.
No, I totally agree. Stated the offensive line. There's been some investment in there. Can you kind of give me the state of the line?
Yeah, they've really, really been investing in that offensive line. They've been changing positions from right side to left side. There's been new centers brought in. We've got a whole new team that I still need to really get my head wrapped around between offensive line and defense. It's almost as if it had been gutted and recalibrated. So I'm really looking forward to July 25th when we have our open training camps through August 7th. And I plan to be there every single day, soaking it all in and taking in some content. Season ticket holder again this year, and there's a special season ticket holder practice. So I'm assuming that one will be more intimate. So there's a lot to take in as it relates to the O-line, but I can tell you that I am super excited. Last season, I mentioned how banged up our O-line was.
Right.
I think every single player on the roster had played at one point. It was so like desperate and dire. And then my favorite and actually family friend Clayton Tune, our backup quarterback, had to be there for the Browns of all teams with an incomplete O-line. And then people are like, oh, he's terrible. Like, really? Is he that terrible? Or is there just
Or was
zero
Myles Garrett just in his
protection?
face every game, every
And
play?
you're playing the Browns and you're like, whoa. So I'm excited to see a strong, healthy, young O-line, and on the flip side, defense.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
was going to ask you about them
be,
next.
yeah, it's the same kind of boat. Really, we have Buda Baker is staying again here in Arizona. He was just ranked the 6th top safety in the league. So that's really exciting to see. Voted on by coaches, executives, and scouts. So it's not just something like ESPN makes up or whatever. They voted in. So Buda Baker, top safety, and then building a team around him. And they're actually really playing on people's strengths. Our defensive coordinator has, it's not just like, okay, this is your position, you're stuck there. It's like, oh, you actually might be better suited for this. And they're shifting people and they're making changes. And I think that's healthy. And it's a fresh look at things.
Could it be some growing pains early? So I'm asking for our DFS players out there who might want to target that defense early in the season.
I don't know that I would target the defense early in the season. I definitely would want to keep an eye on it, just like I didn't necessarily play them much last season. So yeah, if
But I mean,
you're
going
playing
against them,
DFS,
yeah,
hold
player.
off on playing that defense, I would
Oh,
say, just so we can just get a little eye on it, get a little feel.
but what
stick
about
with
like
your stick
what
with
about offensive?
your what you know.
What about the offensive players going against that
Oh my
defense? Could
gosh.
that be?
Don't hold back on offense. I'm telling you right now, don't hold back. And I feel like such a homer in some of my drafts, especially like Scott Fishbowl. I ended up getting KYLER. I was on the 12 spot. KYLER Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, and
First three
then later,
picks?
yeah, my first 3 picks.
Love
And
it.
then I think just later on in the draft, I'm like, well, shoot, Michael Wilson's still there. I might as well pick him up too. And I thought, you know what? Through 11 weeks, you all can eat it. So there's gonna be plenty of points there. Don't hold back from these individual players. And if you have a whole team full of them, I think you're gonna be just fine.
Awesome. Oh, mi amiga, this is always un gran placer. Okay, so you have dual citizenship in Arizona and California.
Yes.
So,
True.
um, so I want to know. I want to get you free lunches at both places. Got a favorite Mexican place? Either place. And if you want to call out their tacos or any particular dish, please feel free. Let's get you a free lunch somewhere. Hopefully both states.
I'm still looking for recommendations on good Mexican food in California, honestly. But here, I love a local owned here in Phoenix. It's Los Dos Molinos. You can find it on Camelback in Central Phoenix around, gosh, what is that? I don't know, 12th Street or something like that, 16th Street. So you're in Central Phoenix on Camelback, Los Dos Molinos. Hot though. They do use hatch chilies. It's a little bit more of a New Mexico style, I guess. But oh my gosh, so, so good and so, so fresh. Margaritas fresh. They also use local tequila, which I was super surprised. Super smooth. So if you like local, that's my go-to in Phoenix. I'm still looking, Jorge, in California. Help me out. Help a girl out.
Oh my goodness! I got some familia in the OC. So let me see if I can ask around because yeah,
You
you
guys send me the recommendations
yeah.
for Orange County. I'm staying near Long Beach. That's where I live right now. So
Oh, the
send those.
LBC.
Yeah, send those. I gave up my apartment in Old Town Orange and I'm living with a friend. Um, I don't want to share because I don't want
No.
people
You don't
like,
need to. You don't. You don't. No need. No one.
but I live with a friend and I've been living with this friend for the last year when I go back and forth and yeah, near Long Beach. So I've been exploring and I just need to find a good Mexican place though. I love Mexican food. I love flank steak. I cannot seem to like escape a good tempequeño.
Uh huh.
Love.
Oh, love it, love it. Okay, I got I know peeps that have ties to the LBC. So I'll find you something. I'll find you
Thank
something.
you.
Buy Scott Fishbowl. I'll find you something. Oh, mi amiga. Well, let's close up shop. Pump the podcast especially, please.
Yeah, I know we're heading into mid-July, but in August, Women of Fantasy Football
Yes.
hosts a 1 month long, once a week podcast where we highlight women in sports media. Last year, I got to interview Amy Trask. It's probably the highlight of my life. She's amazing. We
That was
have
a great
already
episode.
booked some great guests for this season. We raise money for Galvanize, which is a boot camp for women in sports media, and we have a scholarship fund because it's not cheap to go and get education. So we want to help women achieve their dreams. So be sure to tune in Women of Fantasy Football for that all during the month of August. You can hear all about the Cardinals weekly. Right now, shows are going out on Fridays for the Sick Podcast with Kelly Singh, the sickest Arizona Cardinals podcast.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
just follow me over there on the app formerly known as Twitter at Kelly in Phoenix, and you'll see everything else.
Yes, she pushes everything out there, and yeah, don't forget to get Sunday mornings if you're stuck for DFS tips, hit Kelly up because she's
Hit
gonna
me
win you
up.
some money. She's gonna win you some money. So all of those ones. And, hopefully you get to win some money on Underdog Fantasy. Hit that promo code Familia. Get that initial deposit up to $250. You're going to get matched. Come on, get in there. Come on. Like I said, you might be drafting against either one of us. And lastly, don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Familia FFB podcast. Come on, hit that like button. Let's go. Got the great content. So, otra vez, muchas gracias to our buena amiga, our comadre, Kelly Singh. And muchas gracias to everybody, all our amigos and amigas who were tuning in. And remember, todos somos familia. Salud.